Stacey Johnson-Cosby. I live in South Kansas City now. A little bit about my family. I have both of my parents were military veterans. They met and married while in Germany. And I have 3 sisters and a little brother. I have a twin sister, and then my other 2 sisters are military as well. And I have a niece that's military. So I have 3 generations of women veterans in my family. And I think that's important to notice because we are a family that's built to serve, and that's how we were raised. I am married. My husband is a former city worker, and he retired from the water department last year, and we've been married for 30 years.
Hi, I'm Jaden. I'm a university student at UMKC, and I'm working on Stacey's campaign because I think she's a proven and experienced leader for Kansas City. She told me about some of the things she's done for the city, like hosting job fairs, helping people find jobs, helping people find affordable housing. She's been a real estate agent in Kansas City for over 30 years. She's a housing expert, and she wants to go to city council so she can get the job done. She thinks that she has the necessary experience and knowledge to be an effective city council person, and I have to agree with her. From the time I've known her, she has been nothing less than a hard-working and diligent member of the community. She also is affiliated with many organizations seeking to end homelessness in Kansas City, and once she gets on the city council, I know she's going to do everything in her power to make sure that everyone has access to safe, affordable, and quality housing.
I feel like I've been called to serve. Over the years, I've been asked by several people to consider running. And I wasn't ready at that time because I was busy in my community with certain organizations. I was building one from the ground up and then serving on other committees and in my community in a lot of different ways. And I felt that I was having a great impact with my service, and I needed to continue doing that. However, I recently started thinking about it, and it's like I think I can serve at a higher level, and that level is going to be city council. There are a lot of resources that the city has that would be beneficial for me as I serve my community.
Want to do and accomplish with the help of people and with the help of government. I want to be one of those individuals that can help that person with their plan. Being tech support, that's what I am. If you have a plan or a step or a process that can get you what you need, I think that is always the best way to go. And so I'm here because Miss Stacey, who I just listened to today, she has a legitimate plan. She's thought about her actions. She's thought about her next steps. She thought about what she needs to pull together to make these steps happen. And because of the fact that forethought went into this is the way I need to go, because that is my core value, is forethought, being able to set it up ahead of time. So I want to be one of the individuals that helps Miss Stacey, because I want to see her plan come to fruition.
And I'm willing to take more responsibility in my life with the city in this role as a city council person, as an elected public servant, because of my experience. I think that I'm uniquely qualified because of the experience I've had serving in the community as a citizen on boards and committees with the city. And I think that's really important, to have a working knowledge of the city. The current office holder in the position now asked me 8 years ago when he took his term, he asked me to be his PIAC rep. And that's huge. It's a huge responsibility, and it was a huge honor that he trusted me enough to ask me to serve. And I have. And once in that role, I was elected by my peers as the vice chair of that committee. I was also am his appointee to NTDF, and I was originally appointed 12 years ago by the previous council person to serve in that role. And so I think it's interesting that 2 of my former council members, out of all of the people they could have picked in the 6th district, both chose me to represent them and to be their voice between them and the citizens in our community. And that's given me a wide array of experiences across the city, north and south of the river. And one of the great benefits is the city staff. I know them. I get to work with them on a regular basis, and I know how City Hall works and how to get things done there because of my great relationship with the great staff members that we have there. And more recently, I served on our Red Bridge Area Planning Committee, and each part of our city has an area plan that dictates what the community, what we want in new development and how we want to see our community and our neighborhoods built. And I got to serve as a voice on that in my actual neighborhood in the Red Bridge area, so in South Kansas City. And it was great having input because that guides the development going forward. And I was also recently on the housing task force, the housing policy task force. The city is about to go propose a 5-year housing policy. And as a real estate agent with years of experience, I brought a lot of, I think, my experience and a lot of my relationships with people in the industry with me to that task force. And I got to be our voice about what our thoughts are about improving the amount of housing we have and affordable housing, because that is a big challenge. And we need someone on this council that has experience in housing and locally, and no one else, none of the other council candidates have it, but I have it. And I think that's something that's really important as we move into the 5-year housing plan, just to make sure we have someone there with that expertise. And it's me.
I'm Kathy Benich, and Stacey and I have been friends since college. I trust her completely. In fact, she was the one who sold me. We lived in Lenexa for 26 years, recently moved to Kansas City.
Our city is in the middle of a housing crisis. We simply don't have enough housing in general, but more specifically, we don't have a lot of affordable housing, and there are a lot of people who need it, and who need it desperately. They need it today. I want to use my experience in the housing industry and my task force of industry professionals. I want to utilize their brains, the experts in the field, to help solve this problem. And I have a particular interest because I work with the homeless population, veterans that are homeless and students that are homeless. And so those are two groups of people that we should never have to use the word homeless when we talk about. And so I'm involved in a couple of different projects to support them and to make sure that they have the services they need, the support they need, which include a wide variety of things, the least of which is homes. And so I need to find a way with my housing summit, when I get into office, as part of my action plan for my first 100 days, I'm going to host a housing summit. And with that summit, I want to bring all of the industry professionals into one room. I want to have the tenants, I want to have homeowners, neighborhood leaders, investors, developers, builders, real estate people, all in one room. And I want us to define the problem, to talk about some solutions, a plan to implement them, and then we need to do it. And I want to report back to the community at the end of 100 days how we're going to start solving the problem, because we have people that need quality, dignified homes, and they don't exist today, and we need to do something differently than we're doing today to get that housing built in our city, because it's just not happening, and it's not happening fast enough.
My name is Lamar Vickers, and I'm here in support of Stacey Johnson-Cosby. I'm here because I believe in her aspirations for us as a community. I've met Stacey through her campaigning, and she is one that I believe has a very genuine affection for wanting to bring about positive change. She has demonstrated leadership abilities. She has shown me that she's one that follows up on her vision. You know, I often say people have visions, but if you have visions and you don't put the work in, it's like that parable in the scripture that says, faith without work is dead. I've watched her put the work in. I watched her really strive to accommodate her goals. And so that is what has encouraged me to want to come and support her.
And so I've told you a little bit about myself and my background and why I want to serve. And so at this point, I'd like to ask you for your support. I am offering to you a way to hold me accountable because I am used to that as a business person and as a community leader. I have an action plan for my first 100 days in office because I want you to be able to look back and say, when Stacey was in office, here's what she accomplished. And I want to be able to say that myself. So for my first 100 days, I'm going to have a housing summit. I'm going to have a violent crime reduction summit. I'm going to have a roundtable with our young people, the people who are going to be our future leaders, a roundtable with our entrepreneurs and our small business owners. And I'm also going to have a job fair where we feature those employers today who have openings that pay $15 an hour or more, and they desperately need employees. They need to be matched up with the employees who need the jobs. And so those are the 5 things that you'll find from me in the first 100 days when I'm serving. And because I'm the type of person that is always action-oriented, there'll be more, but those are things that I'm going to report back to the community, to the city, at the end of my first 100 days. And then I'm also going to tell you what I'm going to be doing next. And I need your support, your help, and your voice and participation. And so I hope you vote for me.